All right, hey everybody, Jared Napolitano, JNAP here, marketing advocate for the PC. Tonight we have episode 2 of the Retro Player Spotlight series that we started a couple months ago with John Carr. And with me tonight I have Will Tarbox. How's it going, Will?
It's going pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, doing well.
JNAP, my guy.
Yeah. So Will and I have done, I think, at least one, maybe two retro streams together in the past, right?
Yep.
Yeah, those were fun. We're both in the Retro League last year and this year, so that's definitely an area we'll talk about. I think this series, the main goal is just to feature, some folks that, not necessarily people that won the most recent retro event, but people that have really good perspectives of the game back in the day and the retro game now, but also potentially perspectives on the open game as well. So, Will stood out to me, just a good player, good solid player, and really good performance recently at U.S. Nationals. And we'll talk about his YouTube channel, which has a good amount of really informative videos and deck techs. And it's talking about Will's experiences. So I'm pretty eager to hear Will's story and his experiences with the game.
I mean, unfortunately for everybody watching, not the most recent winner of any big tournaments, but yes, you're right. I do play pretty competitively. I just seem to always come up like one win short from like really doing well, which is too bad. But yeah, I'm definitely above average player. So
yeah. Yes.
So you get to hear from an above average player.
Yeah. So as everyone could see, we have like a rundown or like an outline with all the different big topics we'll touch upon. Of course, thank you to anyone interacting in the chat. Feel free to ask some questions. We will upload this afterwards to the PC YouTube channel. People can watch it on replay. Maybe we'll do a giveaway or two at some point. So always good to reward the spectators. So we'll do something like that. And yeah, so we'll go from there. So without further ado, let's jump in. So Will, how did you first get involved with Star Wars CCG?
I started playing Star Wars CCG like immediately when it first came out. My first card game that I got into was actually a card game called Spellfire. And me and some friends played that for, I don't know, maybe 6 months or something like that. And then the Star Wars game came out, and a lot of us were big Star Wars fans. And so we started buying cards and playing the game like immediately when it first came out.
So way back in Premiere only. Premiere only, when it was Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I remember mostly playing in playing in the basement, playing in friends' basement, and just playing games together. We did get into playing some in the local tournaments where I grew up, which there was a decent tournament scene there. I mean, 15 to 20 people for an average tournament typically. It was for about the same time or shortly after I started playing Star Wars CCG, I started playing Magic the Gathering also. And I mean, there were more people for the Star Wars CCG tournaments than there were for Magic the Gathering tournaments. Nice.
It was, I don't know, there's a lot of Star Wars fans. I mean, there's, I grew up in South Dakota, and there are still some people from South Dakota that still play the game, like Fatty.
Yeah,
Fatty's got some pretty fun videos on YouTube, and also from South Dakota. We may have ran into each other back in the 90s, but hard to remember that, I guess. But yeah, I mean, Premiere, it's kind of really Premiere to like Hoth that I played, and then I kind of quit playing basically when I went to college. I do remember the last tournament that I played in the summer before I went to college, last local tournament, I did win that, which was pretty cool.
Nice.
And that was like the last time that I played until like 2.5 years ago. So,
wow.
Yep.
You played like the Bespin region primarily?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Shout out to Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Organizes the Bespin League.
Mm-hmm.
I think I actually just started playing in that like probably this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe I might have got in on one or two months last year or something like that, but pretty much just started playing that here not too long ago, basically.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about your experience with Open.
Yeah, I mean,
that's cool.
we
Bespin
could
League's
talk
great.
about Minnesota and the Bespin region too a decent amount, because there's some very interesting people around here. Like Mark Walseth, for example. I could probably talk about him for a while, but
yeah, extremely active community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was fun. Fun being able to run into some of these people, meet some of these people. Mm-hmm. When I started playing, I started playing again because I was bored during like COVID, basically. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was I was basically, I'd been playing Clash of Clans way too much, and I finally got like sick and tired of Clash of Clans, and went on Facebook Marketplace and was like looking at Magic cards, and I came across this Star Wars CCG collection, and I was like, whoa, this look, I should, it was like, it was super cheap. This was like before things were kind of blowing up.
Yeah.
And contacted the people and ended up picking up this collection. It was really, it had everything from Premiere to Feed Palace. So
is that the one you streamed? You have the video on your channel for, or is that something else?
That's something else.
Okay,
that's
signed cards.
I'm assuming you must be talking about the signature cards.
Yeah, the signature cards.
Yeah, they're some of my favorite cards that I own came from that collection. Yeah. But yeah, if anybody wants to see some signed cards, I have a video on my YouTube channel that it's not like the greatest collection ever by any means. There's some people that have some amazing collections, but it was a very nice collection to get. I got it from the person who ran the tournaments in the 90s, where I grew up. Me and him have kept in touch over the years because we also played Magic the Gathering, and yeah, we've kept in touch over the years. And he finally decided he wanted to get rid of the last of his cards, and the last of his collection was basically these signed cards, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
So you got another collection that was basically like a base to get back in, then?
Well, what happened was I just got the cards and I started going through them, and I was like, man, these are just so cool. And I found the Star Wars CCG group on Facebook not long after that, and I was kind of like just like putting together decks by myself, just for kind of fun. And this guy puts a post up in the Facebook group, and he's like, "Hey, I'm in Minnesota. I'm thinking about either selling my collection or playing. But is there anybody else on here that would want to maybe play?" And I reached out to him. Turns out he lives, 10, 15-minute drive from me.
Oh, nice.
And reached out to him, and we started playing together. We met at a card store, and we started playing together. And I mean, we played together in person for probably like once a week for like a year straight.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
And we found a third guy, and he actually had a little bit of experience. He'd played at like some Walseth events, for example, and some tournaments. So he was great to have because he kind of helped us with some of the rules questions and things like that. But yeah, I mean, we played for like once a week together for like a year. So yeah, I mean, Dan, if he's watching, he might be watching too. But yeah, we still now we actually play on Get more than we play in person.
Yeah, I love all these stories about people meeting up and playing the game and rediscovering stuff, and it's really cool. And just a quick like footnote in case anyone's not aware, Mark Walseth is in the Players Committee Hall of Fame. He's run a middle school program basically to teach people Star Wars CCG and all of the values that come out of it, and good sportsmanship and critical thinking and teamwork and collaboration and all of that. And his work has had a tremendous impact. And a lot of people know the Rosemont group, and there's lots of players that have come into the game as a result of Mark's time and efforts. So
Yeah,
Mark's
and
great.
it's kind of wild now. You like when I went to, when we were at nationals, there were guys there that were in Walseth's program 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And they were at nationals. Which is just kind of wild to me. But yeah, when we met, it was pretty cool when we got in contact with him, because he kind of set up some tournaments, and that was probably the first time playing tournaments here. But that guy, like, he's been very gracious with just his cards and his collection when it comes to getting people involved in stuff. I mean, that first summer that we played in his tournaments, he put up a sealed Coruscant booster box. And if you played in all three of his tournaments that summer, or all the people that played in his tournaments that summer split the booster packs from that Coruscant, that sealed Coruscant box.
Wow. That's awesome.
Which is just, quite giving of him. But it did get a few of us involved. So that was, but anyway, it's very cool.
Yeah. Let me ask, so when you had did you keep any cards from your hiatus, or are you kind of starting fresh when you got back?
Completely fresh.
Okay.
Yeah. I hawked most of my cards of all kinds when I was in college at some point or another. I had a little too much fun in college, but.
And then, so you said you played, so you probably only had like Premier Only, Premier to New Hope, Premier Hoth to pick from in terms of, you had to pick like your favorite Decipher era format. Yeah.
So, I mean, I really love Premier Death Star 2. I think it's a beautiful format. Like, it's just, there's so many good decks. There's so many decks that you can play and be competitive, and it's so well balanced. I don't know. It's just, it's beautiful. But sometimes when I'm getting tired of Premier Death Star 2, I do really like Premier to Hoth.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. So yeah, you played through Premier to Death Star 2 and even up to like Reflections 2, or?
No, just talking about Premier Death Star 2 since I started playing the last couple of years.
Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, cool. I've just really came to enjoy Premier Death Star 2, but yeah, if I get tired, sometimes I get tired of Premier Death Star 2, and I'll play some Premier to Hoth, because I think that's really fun too. And I mean, I do, but sometimes when I'm really looking for something real fresh and new, I do play some Open. I don't play a ton of Open, but I do enjoy. I mean, I don't know, I've been able to. I really like. Oh man, I really like decks that I really like about Star Wars. So like when the AT-AT deck when that did well, I thought that was just awesome, because I mean, the Hoth scene from Empire Strikes Back is like my favorite scene in Star Wars. I really enjoy, I really like General Grievous. So I really like playing battle droids. I really like the couple objectives that revolve around Grievous and battle droids and Trade Federation. So I've been working on a Stunning Move decks lately. That's what I've been working on the most, and I think they can actually be pretty decent. So
yeah, I played a Stunning Move this month in the online championship series, and I went 5-1. Fortunately, I've always liked the deck. Yeah, I've always liked Stunning Move. I play with like more of a mains than like if some people do Destroyer droids. But yeah, I like it. I think it's a little underrated, but it's a little bit delicate too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool.
Oh my gosh, you might have to share your list.
Yeah, I could do that.
So something I'm a little bit curious about, JNAP. What is your history with Star Wars CCG?
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of the abridged version, because this is going to be more about you. But yeah, well, one thing I will say, so I was fortunate to be featured on the Kessling Run podcast. So just a quick shout out to Mike and Jeremy. They do it, and that's where I get into all the nitty gritty details for probably way too long, like 2-3 hours. But yeah, that's a lot of my background there. But I played the game from like 98 to 2002 probably. I went to events probably every probably like every 6 weeks. I'd say I probably averaged maybe 4 at sometimes. Did pretty good. I never really got on. I never got on a plane to go to events, but I would go to like regional tournaments and played and really liked it, and then just put the game down for I guess the latter part of my high school and all of college, and then I got back in right after Rogue One. That kind of piqued my interest to start poking around and started playing on Gemp a couple months after that in 2017, and started just playing a lot in 2018, 2019. I went to Worlds, I went to Locals. 2020, end of 19, I took over or I volunteered. I shouldn't say took over. I volunteered to help the PC with the Twitter account, so that's how I started getting involved volunteering, and then I did that for I guess about a year and a half until I was asked to become the marketing advocate, which has been awesome. So I've been doing that now for a little over 2 years. Wow, it's really flown. It's like 2 years and like 3 months. So yeah, I've just been balancing volunteer responsibilities with still trying to be a semi-competent player and be able to go to events. But yeah, no, I always like Premier Death Star 2 when I first started playing. Again, that's what I started with. And then graduated, got into Open pretty quickly. But yeah, Open, I'm always intrigued because there's just so many cards. I mean, I guess there's only, another 900 virtual cards on top of the 2,500 Decipher cards. But there's just more density with the virtual cards, like more of them are played. You don't have like 150 cards from the Dagobah set that are like never used, and a lot of sets, a lot of that fodder. But yeah, it's always intriguing because you have to adapt to like shields and the games are very different in a lot of ways, but a lot of the fundamentals stick, right? Do you find that be the case whether you're playing retro or Open?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely like one of the biggest challenges with the Open format because of the extra amount of cards. I mean, I think with this game, like knowing what your opponent is probably going to be playing, or like based on what deck they're playing, knowing like what they're probably going to be doing. I think it's very important in this game. And it just adds a lot with those extra cards in Open because there's just so many more possibilities and stuff. It can be a little bit of a challenge trying to learn. And Open is okay. So there are some decks that are probably more powerful than others, but there's a lot of decks that can be that you could potentially play and do well with. There's like a lot, and that can be a big challenge and that's where I got 10th at nationals, but awesome. I played against decks that I didn't know how to play. I didn't know what they were doing. The first time I played against Obi Communion was at nationals, and I lost the first game I played against it, but I won the next 3 games against it. So
you played it 4 times?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I know it is very popular right now. And Obi-Wan Communing, in case people aren't aware, it was a deck that was kind of like the third of the 3 types of communing between Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Yoda. And recently it got a couple helpers, but it really has just been like a build of a lot of other cards, like Master Luke V was virtualized, and it's just become really strong. But yeah, I mean, we're working on something to try to like have like a guide for all the virtual cards of like, here are the ones you need to know that are in pretty much every deck. Here are the ones that are, they're played pretty often, or here are the ones that are specific to certain decks that you're going to want to be aware of. And then there are a bunch that are just barely ever played, just to try to help people if they're just getting into Open, or if they're just more of like passive players, that they're kind of like, okay, I don't time is precious. So not spend all this time learning cards that are barely played. And then also like learning ones which make sense to, cut out the slips and prepare for the decks. But yeah, it's that's one thing, and maybe this might be a good segue to talking about Gemp for a little bit. But like, that's where Gemp is great, that you could just sign in and watch games. You can watch them on your phone, you can watch them at home, you can watch them in the background while you're doing something else. Like, just watching games in any format, you really can soak up a lot of information and what are commonly played cards and what are common techniques and what shields are people actually using and stuff like that. So how did you first, I think you mentioned this a little bit, but like, you get into Gemp and exploring the different formats on there?
So the reason that I started playing on Gemp, you call it Gemp, but for other people call it GIMP, but the reason I got on it was because of the Retro League last year.
Oh, cool.
That was like, so I was obviously aware of GIMP, and I knew it was there, and I had, I'd gone on there probably, a year earlier. I just kind of like looked around and was kind of like lost, didn't know the link for Deck Builder, for example, or that was really confusing me. And I didn't look into any of the tutorials, and that probably would have, I didn't look into any of the tutorials until the Retro League. And then, the Retro League sounded really fun to me. So I wanted to do that. So that's why I figured out GIMP basically.
Oh, cool.
And glad I did. Cause I do enjoy playing on GIMP, quite a bit. It's really, you just got to get on it and learn it and play some games, get used to it. And after you play like 4 or 5 games, it's a breeze, easy to use and stuff. So yeah, it was the Retro League last year though. They got me to kind of finally make the commitment to actually like learn and figure out GIMP.
Very cool. Yeah, it's. I think in retrospect, it seems pretty intuitive, but I know there's things people always ask. How do I zoom in on the card? Just like shift click.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have like a video tutorial.
Hey, I remember asking that.
yeah.
In the chat.
Yeah. And we have a guide. And in case anyone's not aware, because I always try to take one of the things as a marketing advocate, I always try to put myself in the position of someone who knows nothing about what's going on, or just first getting introduced to it. I should say more so. But GEMP is online Star Wars CCG. It's rules enforced. It's available at play.starwarsccg.org. And you can go in there. You can set up an account pretty quickly. There's a tutorial on the login screen. And you can play all these different formats. Everything's free. You can have access to any. You can play your deck with 59 Darth Vaders and 1 starting location if you please. There's sealed simulated events, which are really cool because the game's been out of print for a long time. So sealed events are cool. And there are a handful of Decipher cards that aren't coded yet because they're very difficult. But for the most part, pretty much everything's coded up to date. But yeah, it's the Retro League's cool, and I think it helped people get tap back into the game. I mean, like I said, I started with Premier Death Star too. I didn't go straight into Open when I first signed up, but it's gradually got different improvements over the years. Did you do all 5 events in last year's inaugural Retro League?
I missed Premier to A New Hope, but I got in at Premier to Hoth.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't do the first 2 because, like I said, I like retro, but I was like, Premier to New Hope is like way far back. I don't know if I can handle that one. But this year I'm going to do all of them. Even Premier to Endor was the second event. And yeah, I think this year we're getting like the Retro League is global basically. We have people in Poland playing in it and people in Australia, whereas like the regional leagues are like bunch more geographically centered. But I mean, these events are still like 50. We're getting like over 50 people in each event. The first 2, I think, were like 55 and 57, I want to say. Which is really, it makes for good events in terms of like, okay, let's do a 6-game Swiss, and we're probably going to get, 1 or 2 6-0s. And if we have 2, that's really good. As we saw, we watched, I think we did the Kipple game. That was the 2 5-0s, I think. But yeah, it was like a de facto championship game, I'm pretty sure. So this year we're doing, the next one's coming up soon. If someone's, we'll upload this pretty quickly, but June 2nd is when cutoffs stop for the Premier to Death Star 2 event, but people can do the other 2 events out of the 5 if they want as well. So yeah, I think it's been really cool. It's gotten a really good response. Did you, but Premier to Reflections 2, I think is a little tough. I think it's just so much watch your step. Right?
It's probably my least favorite. I like Decipher cards only more than I like Premier Reflections too. That's just me. But but let's see. This year it's going to be with. You can't play Watch Your Step and you can't play Agents of the Black Sun.
Correct,
is that
correct.
right?
Yeah, correct. So that should make you get the Reflections 2 cards. You get the. I think we add on a couple more cards, right? Maybe more premium. I guess you get the Jabba's Palace Seal deck, but that's in the event 4. But yeah, so you can get like Doctor of Oz and combo comes in. I think that helps my kind of scum, which is cool. Prince Shizor, you can put him in different scum decks. And then light side will get like Corn Horn, which is good to deal with undercover spies like U3PO, the OG. So yeah, it'll be cool, I think, to have that modified ban list.
yeah, I mean, I like it when when things kind of get messed around with to kind of create like pretty much like a new. I mean, it's pretty much going to be creating like a new format, really.
Yeah,
should be. I don't know. It should be pretty cool. I'm already kind of getting excited on like working on decks and stuff for it because it's gonna be something really completely new. So
yeah, and I think that's something. One more point on that is that I think it attracts people in that these formats because there's two things. There's a handful of cards that are not coded in Gemp. There's very few that are consequential, but there are a couple like frozen assets. So that contributes to a little bit of a different meta than what was exactly played, back in 1999 for Premier to Endor, we'll say. And then the other thing is that you lost my train of thought. Errata. So there have been errata to decipher cards or in the decipher era to decipher cards, and some errata to decipher cards from the PC era, like projective telepathy. I'm pretty sure, like you can't cancel your own battles. There's a couple things like that. So that also changes some of like the maybe abusive cards or abusive techniques that make for a negative playing experience. So like, and even like, operatives, they were errated, but they didn't really have a ton of time before like, new cards started rolling in and changing the meta. So it's a little bit of an unsolved meta in some respects is the point, which I think attracts some people to, let me play this format. And, it might not be fully solved.
Yeah. Yeah. We might see a lot of my kind of scum too, or some, I don't know. We'll see. There'll probably be some, hopefully there'll be something new that'll come out of it. I think that's always fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and we have the top 8 coming up pretty soon for the Premier to Special Edition, the annual event that's outside of the league, but that'll be fun to watch. There should be some pretty good matchups in the top 8. But you touched upon. Go ahead.
Do you know when they're going to start playing yet, by any chance?
I do, because I'm effectively the tournament director. Like me and Andy Talaga were the main organizers of this, but since he's in the top 8, it's kind of like, all right, let's avoid any potential, bad optics. Not Andy's very trustworthy, but so I'm like, I'm just gonna be the director for the rest of the event, effectively.
Sure.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, that Premier to Special Edition, that was in there. I mean, I enjoyed it. Maybe there were some people that probably maybe didn't, but I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was pretty fun. You really are playing stuff that you don't usually play in like any other formats.
There's a lot of cheese. There's a lot of cheese.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of hidden base. Mm-hmm. Oh gosh. So I ended up 8-4. I didn't see the end. I think I ended up in 11th place. I think.
Yeah, I think you narrowly missed. I locked down the standings.
Needed one more win.
Yeah.
But I started out 2-3 or 3-4 up, and then let's see. I started out 2-3 and then 3-4, I think. And I'd only played one dark side game at that point.
Yeah, I think dark is a lot worse. I felt like dark was worse.
I got smoked by hidden base, and because hidden base everybody was playing hidden base for light side. At least it seemed like it. But anyways, I changed it. So I just changed up my deck. I just made a deck that was like completely anti hidden base.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Talon rolls, black 1, 2, and 3, DS 61, 2, and 3, and I won 5-0 with it.
Wow. You'll have to put that list up. Maybe after the event. That would be good.
I mean, the only thing is, it'll probably never be something that'll be played ever again.
Maybe. Maybe in the next year's Retro League, maybe we add Premier Special Edition in. But quick thought
maybe
there.
Maybe I should stop talking about it.
Oh yeah, maybe keep it under wraps so you can win the event. Our technology advocate, Adam Fletcher, he's going to be doing a stats post. He actually gave me a little bit of a preview. I think it makes sense, to hold off on it until the deck lists are due for the top 8, just, so it doesn't, impact anyone. Let's have it be a little more organic, I guess, is the message of people choosing their decks. But once the decks are locked, I think we'll drop the stats. And, hidden base was very, very popular. which I don't think. But to see exactly, to quantify exactly how popular is very interesting. But yeah, those stats are always interesting. So thanks in advance to Adam for putting that out. But yeah, so I'll run the matchups actually tomorrow night, which will be May 31st. So I'll do another mini stream for that as well, just doing the drawing for. We match up top 4 versus bottom 4, so it's not like, hey, someone's in 7, they know who they're playing at 2. They could technically build their deck expecting that exact person. We've gotten away from that just because it leads to some odd deck making. So, so this I think is a little bit better. This is what you probably saw. But yeah, it looks like you finished 11th in the retro. I only played 8 games. I played all 6 of my light, but I finished 3 and 5. But yeah, I couldn't. I mean, just it was a busy month, but at the same time, the format's tough. But yeah, you did touch on something that might be another good segue of, let me show this. So I remember I saw your name around in the Facebook channel. You're doing videos. So we'll give your channel a little plug here. So Will has, hopefully everyone could see that, but SWCCG to the Moon is Will's YouTube channel. And you got about 15 videos on here. And some of them, they're like deck text videos, but a lot of them, as you mentioned, made me think of it, the Decipher cards only, which we did that as the annual online retro event last year. I think that's a tough format too, but you love it.
Yeah. I don't love Dark Side Senate. I don't love it. But otherwise, and the light side combat can be no fun to play against because it's really good. But otherwise, there's a lot of fun stuff. I don't know if this is possible or not, but a format that we play here sometimes in tournaments that Walseth came up with is Decipher cards only format, but with all the defensive shields.
Huh.
Because the problem with the format of Dark Side Senate being so powerful and combat decks being so powerful, there weren't shields made there weren't shields in the Decipher area made to do anything about those decks.
Right.
But with the Players Committee shields that they made, there's still Dark Side Senate is still good, but it's not overpowered. So it really opens up like possibilities for different kinds of decks. Watch Your Step is legitimate, but not overpowered. And
that would be interesting.
Yeah, we've had
maybe
some
we
fun
could make
events
it a
with
format.
that.
Maybe we could.
What's that?
Maybe we could do that as a format, maybe for next year's Retro League. We'll do another questionnaire just to get people's gauge on things. But maybe that might not be. I mean, I know nothing about coding, but maybe that might not be too hard to code.
Yeah, I don't know anything about coding either. It would probably be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Some typical retro players would probably still not enjoy it very much because the defensive shield would still be there. But it would be something, again, kind of that'd be really different and new. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, there's some cool videos in here, like we touched a little bit upon the collection with some cool signatures, and some deck text for Open, for it looks like premiered Endor, Throne Room. I know Will did. I remember we promoted that a little bit. And yeah, so check it out, give it a follow.
Yeah. My first deck that I made was a AT-AT, or my first video that I made was a video about my Decipher cards only AT-AT deck.
General Veers.
It got a decent amount of views. But
wow.
It was just it's fun to play with, and I still have the deck, and the last time that Walseth had a Decipher cards only tournament, I played it in that tournament and did well. I ended up getting beat by Charlie Arlinson at some point, but
how many Blizzard 4s are in there?
What's that?
How many Blizzard 4s?
Well, 3, of course.
That card when it first came out it was just so broken.
Oh, it's crazy, but
turn 1 especially. Yeah. Okay. So this year's league, so we've done we did Premier to Hoth again for the first event, Premier to Endor, and then we're going to start Premier to Death Star 2 for event 3. So how are you generally feeling about this year's? I know we've touched upon it a little bit so far.
I mean, I love it. I love it so far. Love Premier to Hoth. Premier to Endor was kind of, that was kind of new and kind of different. I had fun. I think I went 4-2 in Premier to Hoth. I would like my game against JPC back. That the one that when I played him, he ended up going 6-0. But anyway, I'd like that game back. But Premier to Indoor went 4-2. That was fun. I mean, so my light side deck in the Premier to Indoor League I went 3-0 with it.
Wow.
The thing was, it's completely legal in Premier to Special Edition.
Oh, interesting.
So I played. I had no indoor cards in there. So I played that in the Premier to Special Edition tournament, and ended up going 3-3 with the deck in Premier to Special Edition. So that was kind of mind-boggling to me, but
interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, what do you do? I guess I don't know.
Was it like a throne room?
No, it was an operatives deck.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Yeah, operatives. They're like
operatives with T-47 speeders.
I only played against one. It was the Corlag one, and it's like you really need a plan for them, or else it's like you're like just pushing the rock up the hill, and it just keeps going down.
Yeah, that's one thing about if you don't know how to play against the operatives deck, you're probably going to lose because they're going to get on you so fast. They're going to force drain you so fast.
Yeah.
There was a lot of operatives decks in the Premier to Indoor League, so I think a lot of people did have some experience against it. So.
Speaking of operatives, that might be a good opportunity to do our quick giveaway. Some folks in the chat, I have these gold. I mean, these are virtual slips, so I know people watching this video might be more retro slanted. So if these are virtual cards for open, so if you never will use virtual cards, maybe let me know and maybe we'll do something else. But we'll give away one of these packs. We'll do one for the replay. These are full.
Or if people get some good slips or something in there, they could trade them to me for.
Exactly. Yeah, you could always trade them. You could always trade them. Please don't sell them. But yeah, these are white border effectively. They're the chrome foil. They look really cool, and they are AI, alternate image virtual card slips. So if you're in the chat and you want to get one of these, or if you're watching this on a replay, just type in an operative. So like a type of operative. So one of the planets that has operatives. We'll put it that way. So I'm not sure. Maybe we'll do 1, 2, 4. I'll just take some notes here. But yeah, thank you for tuning in, and hopefully you all follow and subscribe. But yeah, these are prize support that we have, and people always ask, how do I get prize support? How do I get prize support? So we have little opportunities like this on streams, and then we do it for lots of other reasons. So, but yeah, so that'll be our little giveaway here in the middle. So. All right, so yeah, sorry for that little bit of detour, Will. But let me ask you. So, what do you?
I just tried typing in the chat myself, but I'm not logged in.
Yeah, no, I'll get you something too. We always try to thank and acknowledge people who create content, and you do, or even participate as guests on other content. So, I will definitely get you something as a thank you, very similar to this. So yeah, so do you have any, I guess looking back, any tips on getting into open? Because in case some people might watch this and be like, oh, maybe, that'll be my goal. I'd like to play open at some point. Any suggestions for that?
Well, kind of depends on where you're at a little bit. I mean, if you've not played at all, or not played at all since the 90s or something like that. I mean, I'm a fan of the process that I took, being like starting out with retro cards. I mean, well, starting out really basic, just making decks out of whatever cards I had. You don't have to do. Otherwise, I'd say get on GEMP and just make some decks with what you got all the cards on GEMP. So get on GEMP, make some decks. Start there, but you probably don't expect to win very much right away.
Yeah, a little bit of
kind of every plan, but then start. Learning the game a little bit, and then start playing maybe more competitively in the retro leagues. I mean, I copied a lot of the tournament decks. There's the pre-made decks on GEMP that you can do. But I don't know. My process was playing, essentially retro and the old cards first, getting kind of familiar with them, just getting familiar with the game again, and the rules, and then getting familiar with the defense. Then getting familiar with the defensive shields. I did play some Decipher cards only, which is not a very popular format on GEMP, but I still played it just to learn the defensive shields, really.
Yeah, there's one person. Sorry to interrupt you, but there's one person on Discord who's always asking for Decipher cards only games, and just like it's tough to get those because it's a tough one. And to your point about the shields, like I feel like because there are shields, it almost encourages people to play shield busting strategies.
Sure. And you can do that with some of the decks.
Yeah. Some
of the overpowered stuff, but I can tell you it's not me on Discord doing that because I'm not on Discord, so it's not me. Yeah. So there's at least one other person who likes the Cypher cards only.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I've watched tournament games with the open format, and really you just got to jump in, start playing the game, playing the cards. Play a bunch of different decks, play a bunch of different kinds of decks, copy a bunch of decks or get some off of the tournament page from the Star Wars site. But just play a bunch of different decks so you can learn a lot of the cards and learn a lot of the different decks. And that's going to go a long ways because you're going to play against those decks and it's good to know what you're playing against. So,
yeah. And that's, I think one of the things I see a lot when people come back to the game is, hey, I want to, build a bunch of decks. What all do I need to buy? And it's like, I think one of the cool things about GEMP is you just try different stuff out, play it, and then buy the cards that you might need. Don't go on a spending spree before, because you might buy a bunch of cards that you literally never use. So that's where it's a huge advantage that it's easy to build decks, effectively take them apart, build them, all that stuff.
It's so awesome how you have all the cards available to you on GEMP. Like, again, once you learn the system and start playing some games on there, it's like I said, guys I played with, we played all the time in person together. But once we all started figuring out GEMP together, we just started playing on GEMP. And way easier. Didn't have to go anywhere. All the cards were there.
Yeah, it's a good deal. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your experience at U.S. Nationals. So the U.S. National Championship was right around April 1st, so about 2 months ago in Minneapolis. How did your experience go there with the weekend? With the retro event, I saw you finish second, which is pretty cool. And then we talked a little bit about 10th in the main. Just main takeaways from that.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Like, there were, it was fun meeting people from, all over the country that came. Like JPC, the guy that won the Premier to Hoth League and the Retro League. He came from. He came from like Orlando. It was fun to meet him. But people were just like excited to play Star Wars cards, and I was too. And it was fun. Like Garrett ended up winning the retro tournament, and a guy named Garrett Larson is a local guy here. He got first place. He was playing some crazy light side deck that that nobody had any idea.
T16.
People he played didn't know how to beat it anyway. So it was fun. People were having fun. The main event, challenging sometimes. Again, just for me, like learning some of the decks. My first time playing against some of them. I play a lot of Premier Death Star 2, and Bring In Before Me is very popular in Premier Death Star 2. I'd never played it in open before, so I got to play against it for the first time as an open format deck. And I learned after the game that there is a defensive shield that would allow me to use Leia to be captured instead of Luke. I had the shield in my deck, but didn't know that didn't know it existed. So, so
that's
anyway, I learned that. That was cool. But it was fun. Yeah. I mean, I think if anybody gets a chance to go to one of these big events, if they're nearby, I mean, if it's a 4 or 5 hour drive, I think you should do it. Get a hotel room and stay the night and play some Star Wars cards. It's fun.
Yeah, they're always a great time. I wish I could go to more. I should be able to go to Worlds in a couple months. That's August 12th to the 14th or 10th. I think it's 10th to the 12th.
You're on the East Coast, right?
Yeah, it's in New Jersey, so it's only an hour and a half, maybe even less to me, which is good. So I'll be bringing all the prizes up there, or a lot of the prizes, I should say. Bring them.
I wonder if we're going to have nationals in April in Minneapolis again, because
snow.
we had a serious blizzard.
That's wild.
On the Friday night of the event.
Yeah, maybe we keep it in August or July, like I think it has been before.
Yeah. If you didn't think a blizzard was going to happen in April in Minneapolis, now you know.
Bring him before me and open. My beef with that is, the most powerful card in the deck is Lord Maul with lightsaber, and it's very unthematic. But he's kind of like the engine that makes it go in a lot of ways. It drives me nuts. But yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, great time.
Yeah, small Sith Infiltrator was what's his name that ended up winning.
Hayes.
Yeah, Hunter Hayes.
Hayes
he was the one that was playing Bring It Before Me in the main rounds. And yeah, it was Bring It Before Me, but yeah, like you said, he had Maul and Maul Sith Infiltrator and doing nasty things with those cards, and yeah, not as thematic, but
yeah. Okay. All right, so kind of just getting towards the finish line here. So I guess what's next? So we have Premier Death Star 2. We got a couple more events. I guess you'll be looking forward to the Bespin League, both online and in person events, right, for the rest of the year.
Yeah. There's we're gonna have there is going to be an in-person tournament here coming up, I think, sometime soon.
I think you have regionals, if I'm not. Or regionals or states at the end of August or June, I think.
Yeah, probably both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yep. JNAP.
Yeah.
What is your favorite card that you own?
Favorite card that I own?
Yeah.
Probably the Japanese Darth Vader, non-foil.
Do you have a lot of Japanese cards?
I have one of every one made. Put it that way. So I have the complete sets for Premier, A New Hope, Hoth, and then the white border 2-player game for each Empire Strikes Back and Premier, the Premier one.
JNAP, I would say that's a lot of Japanese cards.
I got him a while ago. I actually have 2 Vaders and 2 Lukes. Yeah, I got them way before they exploded in value.
Right.
But now it's you can get a sealed Japanese Hoth booster for $9,000. Right? Did you see that in the Facebook group?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometime if I wasn't married, I'd probably try and buy it. But...
It's an investment. It's an investment.
I want to stay married. So.
Yeah. Good. Me too. See, that goes into the calculus there. But yeah, the Japanese Premier Vader. But yeah, other than that, I don't have any Reflections Gold or with those the Hoth with light side cards with the Imperial backs. I'm not good old Andy Talaga's the Collexicutor. It's got everything.
Yep.
But yeah, what about you? What's your favorite card? One of those signed
cards?
So
my favorite card is my James Earl Jones signed Premier Darth Vader.
Very nice. Very nice.
That's my favorite card. Yep. That's one that I got from that autograph collection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yes, I don't know. It's very cool. Second favorite is probably my Japanese Blizzard one, but.
Mm.
Yep. but it's I enjoy collecting as well. I play mostly on player for sure, but I do enjoy doing some collecting too. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a lot of fun back in like 20 when I was first getting back in the game. I think for like a week I was like I'm gonna complete all these sets by buying boosters and get everything mint. And then I was like, well, that's not happening. This is way too expensive. So then it was kind of like a fun journey for probably like a year and a half maybe of I started with like one big players collection and then one like collector's collection, but the latter was only really through like I think Tatooine. And then I just gradually started filling the holes and being able to build decks and then finally doing the Japanese sets. But ironically, I think the last card I think I've told some people this. Brian Fred, I needed a Don't Get Cocky from Premier that I just couldn't. I got the Premier mains before I got Don't Get Cocky, and I think B-Fred. I think maybe I'm giving him a little too much credit, but I think he like broke up or started to break up his set in the process and gave me a Don't Get Cocky. So that was like the final piece to the puzzle. But some of the other stuff, it was funny because I bought. It's a funny story. I tell. A New Hope Japanese set was in the PC store, so I bought that, and it was missing the Let the Wookiee Win, which apparently was a very popular card during the Legacy era that people would play like 4 or 5 copies of. So I think it was poached from the set at one point, and it was never replaced. At the PC store manager, Chris, he made good. He gave me something else, to another Japanese R1 that it was actually Obi-Wan's lightsaber. But I needed to talk to somebody else to get the Let the Wookiee Win finally to track that one down. So it's just fun, some of the quest to get there. But yeah, collecting's fun. But I probably haven't bought any card in terms of like collecting in a couple of years now since I completed it all.
Yeah, I mean I've noticed. I mean I'm not somebody that really likes to go after complete sets. That doesn't really do anything for me. But I like I do like collecting cards that I just like. Mm. But I have noticed that I'm kind of starting to run out of cards to get. Like, there's not a lot that I'm really like looking to get anymore. But yeah. I've started getting some like misprints and error cards and stuff too. That's kind of fun.
Do you do the thing where you switch from really liking foils to not liking foils? Some people have done that where they want to get all the foils out of their decks, and then sometimes they want them. But I find that funny.
One thing I've never really been into is foil cards. Actually, I like some of the ultra rares that I think are pretty cool. Like Darth Maul, the Darth Maul Young Apprentice alternate image and stuff is really sweet. Some of those are really sweet. But otherwise, I've not actually gotten very many foil cards because you just can't play with them.
Yeah, so, there's a lot of them that are just curled, and it's just like ugh. I mean, I think people who live in like Denver or maybe like Phoenix or Vegas or stuff like that, like where there's no humidity. I know there's some tricks that you can get it out. And when you have like foil cards and you got virtual slips that are, I think it all blends in pretty well, but there are definitely a lot of foils that I'm like I can't play with this card. Whereas some of them are like amazingly like flat. It's like, how did this happen? Like maybe this was in Las Vegas for the last 20 years and that's why it's nice and there's no moisture here curling it. But yeah. Well, all right. Well, this was an awesome conversation. Thanks so much for being our second spotlight player for the series.
Yeah. Thanks. It's fun. It was fun being here. So.
Yeah, some really good stories about your background, about the game. And yeah, I'm sure we'll connect. We should do some more commentary for some of these Retro League games. Maybe even the Premier Special Edition, the Retro event.
Yeah.
We need to get a different name. Like maybe we call the annual event like the Throwback event, and then we have the Retro League because a lot of people get them mixed up, like Retro League, Retro event. But
yeah, that's a good idea. Good marketing idea there, J-Nap.
Yeah. All right. Well,
throwback tournament. It's a good idea.
Yeah. And yeah, just a reminder on the prize support. So I got a few folks who responded in chat. Please send me an email so I know how to contact you and send you the stuff. But if you're watching this on a replay, please send a planet that has an operative to marketing@starwarsccg.org. I can't guarantee that every person gets one, but at the very least, I'll do like a random selection from the people that submit. So So thanks to everyone who tuned in live and or on replay. And thanks again to Will for this, and we'll see everyone around. And